just get this thing recorded. There we go. 3, 2, 1, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Game Changer Podcast. I am your host, NateFNGreat, and I am rocking an amazing t-shirt. You can't see this because it's an audio show, I know, but whatever. It's the Deadersons, and who better to talk about them again than with two of the masterminds behind them. Of course, we have Mr. Wyatt over here.
Hello.
And we have the lovely Kris over here.
Hello.
And back again, and this time around, no crazy interruptions, no hoarse voice on my end, because the last time we did this was at OhanaCon, which was fun, but the interruptions definitely kind of killed the mood sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard at cons to record really anything.
Yeah, that con was...
Messy.
It was messy, yeah.
Just a little bit. I just remember the main moment of just looking over, hearing Tori like jam it out to like a friend, to like one of the fans or something like that. And I'm just going like, no, stop. No,
I won't go into anymore, but I just want to say that there hasn't been an OhanaCon 2 or 3.
Yikes. For reasons. So honestly, you guys, the first question is, what have you been up to since we last talked? Which was, gosh, how many years ago has that been now? Like,
it seems like forever ago,
right.
because
I don't understand time anymore.
Time doesn't mean anything anymore. Like, I literally have no idea what day today is. But we've been busy. We've been keeping up a lot. The FML kind of took off after that. Again, it has its peaks all the time, and so FML kept us busy.
And we even expanded out to, because we were exclusively on YouTube and Patreon.
Yeah, at that time.
And we've since expanded out to other streaming services with it as well.
Yeah, we have exclusive contracts with thevibe.com where we make episodes exclusively for them. So you can get, we call it FML After Dark. And they're a little more adult-oriented episodes that we know we can't get by with on YouTube anymore. And then the episodes that YouTube has told us you can't have on here anymore, we're now putting on a Vibe as director's cut. So I'm going through them, and I'm remastering the episodes, making them look better, making them sound better, and adding new footage to them. So if you've seen them already millions of times, you can go onto a Vibe, and you can see them like you've never seen them before.
you have a good vibe.
A good vibe, yes. That way, you vibe with a vibe, that's what they say. So. But honestly, like, a Vibe has been a very good platform for us. They're very supportive. They came to us immediately when YouTube was giving us trouble, and they were like, they don't want your content, we do.
Yeah. And you can actually get in touch with an actual person when there's an issue.
Yeah, it's a great format for creators. It's absolutely fantastic. And I can't wait to grow with them. They're an up and starting company, but they're doing so well now. They got a good game plan, and we're looking forward to grow with them. We're also starting to rent content. You can go to withribbon.com/notebook, I think it is, and you can find us on there. And you can actually rent episodes that either YouTube doesn't want anymore or episodes that were on Patreon exclusively, like older episodes. Okay. And so if somebody doesn't want to commit to a monthly subscription, they can just rent the episodes for a couple of days and watch them and stuff. And we do offer a subscription service on there as well, but we call it Notebook Plus.
Notebook Plus.
I had to.
And then we're also growing our second channel, so it's not quite anywhere near the numbers of our regular channel, but we're growing it as a pop culture channel. We have all of the episodes of the Deadersons on there right now, and the first 5 episodes of our newest show,
Horrorland News, which what we've decided to do is we're just such big fans of horror movies, and we're starting to make horror movies, but we love them even more. So we want to talk about horror news. We want to talk about independent horror films. We've been showcasing fan films.
It's actually one of our regular segments. Every Monday, we're going to have a segment called Indie Film Spotlight. And so we're going to either, we've done fan films, we're going to be talking about an indie film this coming week. So we want to get the word out there. Everybody knows the big studio films. So let's start spreading some words about, what other people are doing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. The channel is called Notebook TV. And we know that the FML audience is not always interested in everything else that we have to offer. So we decided to separate it a while ago. And not only now have we started to really put a lot of effort into it and put a lot of shows on there.
And we have more shows that are going to be premiering in October on there as well.
Yeah, Slasher's Advocate is going to be fantastic. I can't wait for everybody to see that. It's a show developed and created by Chris Williamson. Long story short, she defends your favorite slasher icon. It's fantastic. I can't wait for y'all to see it. So
I get to pretend to be a lawyer.
It's going to be great. It's really going to be great. That's what started this whole thing. But then we realized that Slasher Advocate takes a lot of time to put together. She's got to come up with the defense. She's got to watch all the movies again. She's got to come up with the defense. It's a process. So it's not going to be a weekly show. So we wanted to come up with other content. So news and news information is the quickest thing, but we've got other things coming up down the pipeline too.
Yeah, Thanks I Hate It with Alex and Kris, where we just talk about all the stuff we hate. So
generally horror movie related.
It's going to be a great show. I'm very excited about that one.
Yeah. And we've got some other things that we've just laughed about that we haven't put in actual development yet, but that is most likely going to come down the pipeline. So
I mean, you might see somebody just raging about certain horror movies.
We might.
Yeah, we've invited Nate the NateFNGreat here
to be a correspondent of the Horrorland News, and he has gracefully accepted, and we're excited to work with him. Nate is he's so much fun to work with. I
was actually just about to say that's another thing is that we finally popped my FML cherry.
Yeah.
Since the last time we haven't done that. That's right.
Correct. We talked a lot about it, but we never really got a chance to really do it because
your FML cherry was popped with which one? Which was your first one? Was it the Cupid one?
I think it was the pizza guy one. Where
the pizza guy one. Yeah.
It was with me and Griff were playing video games, and then I see the cute girl.
The cute girl comes in with a pizza, and he's like, he's like flirting with her, and it's like not going very well. She's like, yeah, okay. And then he comes back, and he's all like stargaze, and the guy Griff is like, well, you should call back and order another pizza. Then you'll get her back, and you can have a second chance at it. And Nate's like, all right. And he calls back, and he opens the door with his eyes closed, and he's like pitching his whole heart to her. And it's Mike.
Mikey.
And Mikey goes, and Mikey's like, all right, I'll come in, have some pizza, whatever.
One of the best parts about that is the end scene where we're basically just, talking to each other. Mikey's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know this pizza sucked.
Yeah, it was all improv. It was funny.
Oh, my gosh. And then he has a line where he's like, so I heard that you gave my girl, major tip. Can't get on there? And we just have that classic stare at him, and he's like, oh, I get it. You got to have big boobies in order to get that. Every time he said that, he said so perfectly, it always broke me.
His line delivery is on point.
It's pretty good, man. Mikey's an underrated actor. He needs to come out and do more episodes.
Yeah, Mikey.
He's fun. So, then, did you ever think I'd get you to wear a diaper on camera?
I was just saying to Becky that when we first pitched the idea, I was so uncomfortable with it. But I said that by the end of it, it's like I could not see myself doing this for anybody else because you know how to make everybody just feel comfortable with an idea. It might seem weird on paper, but then once they do it, it's just kind of it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It was weird to ask you, but I really wanted it. And it was. I love that episode.
Well, the funny thing is that this was one of those times where you were just saying well, they always see a lot of the girls naked. We want to try to get some more men nudity in it.
Right.
Let's get it Magic Mic'd up in here.
I'm surprised we haven't done a Magic Mike episode yet.
Having a stripper could be really funny.
Oh my gosh.
Sexy. Really sexy.
That's not really any better. I would be a part of that, honestly.
I'll bet you would.
At this point, you put me in a diaper, it's like Nothing else is going to be
You're just
like...
getting your Chris Farley on, that's all.
This is very true.
Yeah,
I was saying in one episode, I want to just incorporate the line that he has where he's like, he's not in a van down by the river.
Right. We'll see if we get him to play a stripper. He can do the famous Chippendales, Chris Farley.
Yeah. Exactly what you're talking about.
What if we got you and Matt to do it?
That would be amazing. Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, I'll bet Matt would do it. I'll give him a little bow tie.
And that's the other thing is that we've been doing a lot of videos with me, Matt, and Kate.
Yeah,
and they've been turning out.
It's because friends work good together.
Oh, they
do.
do.
Let's just be honest. Anytime I get somebody new, and at one point you were new, but what did I do? I got you with Griff, your friend. So a lot of times when people are new, Chris, your first one was a tie.
Yeah.
You know, the first, it's easier to, it's less anxiety. You're cooler with them. You can fuck around with them. You can make jokes with them. It's just, I find it easier if I get people that know each other to work together the first time. After that, I'll throw, you gotta work with this person, you gotta work with that person. But in the beginning, because we improv so much that if you're already friends and you know how to work off of each other, it just works.
It definitely does. And it does get amazing that how far you're willing to go to work with friends.
How far I'm willing to go?
No, I think when it comes to with me and Matt, honesty, because we've done so many of the director ones, which I think is one of my favorite series that has been just.
Well, we've only done 2. It feels like we've done a lot more.
I feel like
it feels like we've done a lot more. But the director ones, which are seen only on a vibe, is Nate plays this kind of loosely based on myself. Like, I feel like he's an independent, sleazy director.
Note the deep sigh.
Just trying to make a living, and like he knows what his fan base is. And so the first episode you did as the director was where he cast them as superheroes.
Yes.
And so it all seems legit and cool and everything. And I've done superhero shows, except for he reveals that Kate's outfit is literally the size of smaller than my palm.
Yes.
Like that was her whole costume. But it was bulletproof. But
it was.
And then Matt had to wear a green suit where I literally found a CGI character and put him in for him. And the fans loved it, of course. So then we did another one where it was a prequel, and it kind of showed how Matt's acting character and Kate's acting character met. And it's told from the kid's point of view where they ask him, well, how did you guys meet? And they don't want to say because they met making Nate's fetish movie about face sitting.
Oh, man.
And what I love about this episode was if you guys have ever seen Love Actually, there's a characters in it by, what's his name? Martin...
Scorsese?
No. English guy from Sherlock, and he was in.
Martin Sheen.
No, not Martin Sheen.
Martin Short?
I can't. Why can't I not do this?
You guys,
we're circling
Wakanda. He was the guy in Marvel. He's in Marvel. He's in Sherlock. He was in Hobbit. He played Bilbo.
Oh,
the young Bilbo. Anyways.
Yeah, they're porn stand-ins.
They're porn stand-ins
in Love Actually. To get to the point.
Get to the point. They're love stand-ins in the movie, and they end up falling in love in the most awkward situations possible because they have normal conversations while they're like humping and stuff. And so Matt's had this thing with the wrestling fans and face sitting and everything that I thought it'd be funny, and we can't do it on YouTube because YouTube is like they freak out. So I made it for a vibe, and the whole video is Nate's directing her to sit on his face, and while they're doing this, they're having a conversation, and they fall in love. But they can't tell their kids this. So there's the awkwardness. And I knew that it was... it's weird because I wanted it to be cute and charming, but disgusting at the same time, and I think I found that.
You did find the
medium.
The best in between, yeah.
Because obviously they work well together, and so you found the chemistry and stuff, and it was fun.
Yeah. And then we had the roommate one, which I think is probably one of Matt's and my favorite one.
Yeah,
and it's also the first time that you've gotten me to shat on a toilet on camera.
Well, He's gotten a lot of people to do that.
I know. It's like, well, there's another cherry pops.
I mean, once you're in a diaper. It's hard to say.
That's true. That's true. It's
But,
just, everything's uphill from there.
well, see, that one was cool because it was a fan-submitted episode, and they intended it to be a girl on the toilet, because that's what our fans just like. And I was, we decided that it was part of the DIY submissions. And so I was like, okay, it didn't win, but it's still funny. I like the idea. The concept of the episode was somebody is destroying the bathroom that's connected to the bedroom while somebody's trying to hook up with a girl in the bedroom. And it's so disgusting and it's so stinky that I was like, Nate's better for this part. Because Nate is just going to be funny.
So, Nate, how does that feel? How do you feel about that? Where he's like, I thought of you immediately for this part. You're perfect.
There has been a couple times where you feel like you're typecasted for a reason. I think with Wyatt, he typecast me for some of these roles because he knows that I'm just going to kill it in it.
That's true. And I knew that he and Matt would work off well with each other after years on the wrestling show and stuff. That it just made sense. It wasn't at all because I couldn't find a girl at the time. So, no, it really was. I totally made the choice. I could have made Kate the girl in the toilet or something, and it was better this way, and it turned out great. And it was gonna go on YouTube, and it would have been fine because there's no nudity in it. There's no suggested nudity in it. You don't even see the side of Nate's ass.
Right.
However, I decided to have Kate crawl on top of Matt when they're making out, and YouTube freaked out, fully clothed, and YouTube freaked out about it. And they age restricted it immediately, and I was like, I know this is a bad, and so I had to pull it, and it's now a Facebook exclusive. You can see it on Facebook for free on our Tales from F My Life page.
And then we had I guess our version of Drunk History.
That was a show that he and I actually came up with because I got him. Well, I don't even remember. I was high, but
I feel like you came up with it.
But I love the show Drunk History, and so he started coming over at one point when I was watching it, and I was like, "Hey, watch that. This is what I'm watching." And he sat down and watched it, and he's like, "This is amazing. You're learning and you're entertained."
Yeah, she got me hooked on it immediately.
And I just want to add that I watch Jeopardy every day for decades now. I love Jeopardy. There have been many times where I've gotten a Jeopardy question right because of something I learned from Drunk History. So it does work. That show works. But so we were sitting there probably getting high watching Drunk History, and we were like, whoa, what if we did this? But it was dank history or high history or something.
Yeah, dank high story is what I ultimately ended up with. But I didn't come up with it till like a year later. The first one we did was just an FML 420. It was the first FML 420 episode. Because, look, okay, like, transparency here, I was totally against pot and smoking and everything until 2015-ish when I had a surgery, and she ended up introducing me to it and realized the healing factors of it.
He had some bad pain after the surgery.
And so because of that, I now realize that I was wrong on all of what I felt throughout half my life, and it was just upbringing and nothing to do with my own thoughts. And so once I can now understand, that's why you never saw pot jokes in FML until a couple years ago, because I didn't relate to it. And it's true, you cannot create or write about something you don't know. It just won't come across, and that was my problem.
Real.
I never thought it was funny. I didn't understand it. I couldn't relate to it. Now flash forward, I think it's hilarious. I want to do pot jokes all the time. And I can't wait all this time for 420. But this was our first one. And it was... Because I remember when I was watching Drunk History, I just was thinking, this is so simple. How did I not think of this? This is like such a great concept. And it fits with FML with the narration and stuff. And so she helped me develop it. And then it wasn't then the next one we did, which was this past year, where it was Dank High Story, that I know for a fact I want to keep this going as a regular thing every year. But yeah, that was really fun. And I forgot that you were in that one.
I mean, we had that I was just saying earlier that my favorite deal is when Kris has the line of, the pizza's here, get the pizza. and then we also have that transition where Kate just grabs Matt and says the same thing. It's like, either way you look at it, if you look at the unedited version or the edited version, it is hilarious.
It works.
It's so funny.
Girls like to be fed.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, Kris is narrating a story that she's telling, but Kate is playing her in the reenactment.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, that. I remember Kate did such a good job with that with Matt that I wanted to intertwine the two takes.
Yeah, those two are going to be in like a major motion picture. I can call that right now. They have the great chemistry. They know how to work off of each other. Just a professional as well as.
Well, hopefully it'll be a Notebook production.
We put them in one of our movies. We're actually last year we did our first real big attempt at a horror short film called Lore of Tanya. And, the end result's okay, but over time...
It was good. The problem is that we realized that the first part of the movie is so much
slow.
Talking.
Yeah.
And so we decided that... I was watching it back probably a few months ago, and I realized, I told her, what it needs is cutaways to what they're talking about.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I can do that. Because I did the special effects for the movies. I was like, okay, well, one of them's we need, Brandy stuck in a bed all, gutted. Bloody and gutted. I can do that.
Right. So we figured it out. And so now what we're going to do is this Halloween, we're going to re-release it as a director's cut special edition.
Right.
I'll make some fun, And we'll probably re-release it on our new channel, Notebook TV. Because that's the more horror-related channel. And... I think that and it won't be a big undertaking. It'll be a couple of days, maybe 3 days shoot.
Yeah, we're figuring it's probably be
to
3
get
days.
it done, and then that way, and hopefully, it'll just because I just realized that it's just a lot of talking.
What's funny to me is we're sitting here. This is how far we've come since we made that movie just last year. Is we're sitting here talking about these little insert scenes that we have to put in, and we're sitting here scheduling, and we're like, okay, we can probably do it in 3 days with scheduling. We shot the majority of the whole movie in 3 days.
Yeah.
Which is why sometimes I feel like the final product feels a little rushed in certain areas and stuff like that, because it's getting late and we were all getting tired and we were doing it all in 3 days.
Yeah. Which was my fault, by the way.
But. Yeah, which we underestimated what a big undertaking something longer than an internet video, would
and
be.
Something a lot less improvised, you know? Like, I think I went into this thinking it was an FML when I should have thought it was an episode of The Dedersons.
Right.
Because the episode of The Dedersons, she was very meticulous about who was going to be there, what shots we were going to get, and sometimes it would take us 2 or 3 days to get one scene done.
Yep.
While this, I was like... We can get the entire campfire scene done in one night, right, guys? Not realizing it was 90 degrees out. My balls are on fire.
Yeah, he did set his crotch on fire.
I literally did. There is shots of it. There's behind the scenes. I think it's on Patreon or something. But where, I got screenplay. Because I thought, and I'll also take blame for this, that I had to use real fire for the campfire scene. Turns out, after we got it shot... We were watching Face Off, I think it was. And they were making their little movie. And they're like, for campfire scenes and for fire, use these light bulbs. And I'm like, that exists? We both stopped and looked at each other like, wait a minute. I immediately looked on Amazon, $8 for a flame light. And then because we had one more shoot to do, and I was able to order those in time, go back, and so for some of the shots, it's fake, but for the majority of it, it's real. And it was 90 degrees out in August. It was awful.
So now we know. We just need the real fire for the long shots.
Yeah, that's it. That's all. Lesson learned. We're not stupid. We just don't always know.
Learning.
We're learning.
Because neither of us went to school for this. So it is a lot of learning on the job.
On the fly, yeah. Like, same thing when I film FML. Like, I use FML as a training tool for not only the actors, but myself. We often tell actors who are new to FML, we'll say, well, this is our audition process for a much bigger project down the road. Because we're going to use FML to see how well can you think on your feet, how well can you improvise, how well can you memorize things I tell you to.
It is amazing seeing that. And, like you said, a lot of these things, they don't have a classroom. They don't have a book that they can just be like, oh, hey, you just learn this naturally. It's like, no, you have to actually go through it and be like, oh, we could have done this a different way. Oh, we could have done this more.
Oh, yeah, and you see that all the time on, behind the scenes when they do featurettes on big films. They'll talk about, okay, well, we had to figure this out, on the fly. So even the people that did go to school for it, that have worked in the industry, it's constantly learning how to get what you want better or cheaper or, whatever the issue is.
The best thing ever is to hear a behind-the-scenes story of a major motion picture. And it turns out they have the same problems you do.
Right.
You have an independent film.
Been there.
And they've had to work around people's schedules who either weren't available, weren't there that day. We've done this for years, and we thought it was just something we were doing. But Hollywood does it all the time. They just have more money, bigger budgets. It's the only difference.
So, Two dogs go crazy.
Yeah.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Scout's coming back, just being like, "Oh, I'm the good one. He's my best friend now." Two things that I thought that I think we might be able to cover is that we do actually have 2 FMLs that are going to be coming up that you guys have me in. One of them is going to be that FML Finish Her All Day with Matt, Kate, and Aiden as well, which I'm looking forward to that. That was just one where everybody just had a fun ride to it. And we just recently got done with another one in which I get to co-star with the lovely Kris.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kris
and
the
first
Becky
Halloween when we shot of the season.
Yeah, and I liked it because I like being able to do physical comedy, so I got to do some of that today. You weren't here for the upstairs scene.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, wait till you see it. Yeah, she blew me away. This was an episode that I had written last minute before the end of Halloween last year. And we tried putting it together, and there was no time. And so with this, I rediscovered the script. This happens a lot with me. I'll write something, forget about it, go through my list of FMLs to do, and I'll see it. I'm like, ooh, I still like that. So I saw it, resurrected it, brought it back, and realized that, hoping that Kris would be good in this part, because she wasn't originally supposed to be in it. And I admit the first shot, I could tell she had got it, and it was really funny.
Yeah. The first shot is I have to basically lay on the bed in a certain way, and I got to pick how I laid. So I like to think that it was good.
It was really good. It was really funny. And I told her, I said, I just need you to wake up really stiff, really achy, pains.
Yeah. What sucked was I got myself in this position, and it wasn't comfortable, and it did hurt. And then he's running around, messing with lights and stuff, and I'm like, can we get an action here or something?
Yeah, then I had to change the whole thing because I realized, for reasons you won't know yet, but I needed to see her face. Because she had her face kind of buried under her pillow, and it was funny, but I needed to see her face. So, so we had to redo it, and then and she still found me a funny position, and but it was just the way that she rolled around in bed and fell out of bed and everything that was just hysterical. And then I was able to get on one shot, one take. Well, not one take, but one shot. We did it a couple times.
The first time, I hit my foot on the nightstand. So I'm like, okay, cool. So the second take, as I'm rolling, I'm edging myself further up on the bed so I won't make that mistake again. Hit my foot on the dresser. So
it's very limited space we've got. And that's the thing is, I feel like a lot of times with FML, because I'm, with bathroom scenes, you're working with so limited space that I don't always think about. I'm worried about how to cramp myself in there and get the shot that I want. And then, it ends up being the actors have just as hard a time because there's not a lot of room. But it's good. I'm really looking forward to this episode. It'll be up early October.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Obviously, with you guys being super huge horror movie buffs, I mean, look at the track record. You created a great series on there. Now you got this great, Horrorland series going on right now. There's going to be a lot to cover as far as horror movies, good and the bad. So let me ask you guys this. is there a horror movie that may have been created in the past that you would like to see remade into something in the more modern times?
Yes. My answer, the one that comes immediately to my head, and I don't know if my answer is Reanimator. I think Reanimator could be... I love Reanimator. I discovered it late in life. I only discovered it last Halloween. And I immediately watched all the sequels. And I feel like my only issue with remaking it is you wouldn't be able to recast the guy that played Reanimator.
Okay.
And I was spacing on his name.
You also wouldn't... See, and that's where my answer would be... No, not really, because it's hard. So many of these exist in the time and place that they were created, and the 80s had their own special look, camp, feel, everything about them.
True.
And so I think part of what makes Reanimator great is that it's not a great movie, you know? Like, and so I feel like if they... and as they have with other remakes, they take them too seriously and it ruins them. Like, for example, Nightmare on Elm Street. The new... They couldn't capture what the original had at all. And it was... I hate the remake. I do not like it at all.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But if I were to, gun to my head, say, what would you want to... I don't know if it falls more in sci-fi, but I would say Soylent Green.
Ooh,
because that's one that not a lot of people even know about. Yeah. And it has the messages and themes in it, because horror has a lot of messages and themes and about society and all of that. And I think the messages in Soylent Green are still pretty relevant today. And plus, I just want to see someone shout, Soylent Green is people,
Well, I think especially with the expansion of fake meat and everything that's happening now.
Yeah, what's the Impossible Whopper? You
can really incorporate that into modern times. And that's a good one. That's a real good one. I think the reason why I say Reanimator is I know something inspires me when I immediately want to make a parody of it at FML. And after seeing Reanimator, I immediately called up our friend Sean, who looks kind of like the guy. And I was like, I want to do a spoof on this, and it didn't happen, but I'm hoping it's going to happen this year. It turns out it's his favorite fucking movie, and he's like, I am so down for this. But I still, that's what I think of. What inspires me to do a parody of it, or do an homage to it. And Reanimator was immediately, because I did kind of come in late in the game with some of these 80s horror movies. I wasn't allowed to watch them as a kid. So I'm kind of discovering some of them now.
It is amazing. I mean, I actually got a chance to look back at some of the classic movies. I actually just started watching the fourth installment of Nightmare on Elm Street, to where I will say this.
Dream Master.
Yeah, I will say this. I definitely do feel the difference between 3 and 4, like within the first 15, 20 minutes.
Sure.
To where it's just like, okay, this movie is going to be a little bit harder to get through. Three was great. I mean, people have always said like it's the best one of the entire series. Some people think that the second one might be, mainly because it's definitely a more darker tone.
Yeah, we actually just talked about this on Horrorland News. Because Wes Craven, his passing anniversary was recently. And so we talked about it on the news and talked about what our favorite movies were. And mine it was a tie between Scream and New Nightmare. Because I really like that meta thing that he was doing,
Which I was very upset about, which you can see live on the screen, because I thought I had this out of the box. Because Scream is kind of a no-brainer for Wes Craven as far as being his top films. So I was thinking, I'm not going to go with Nightmare on Elm Street 1. I'm going to go with New Nightmare, because personally, that is the better film for me. I just love it. I love the meta-ness of it. It blew my mind when it came out. I saw it in theaters. So I'm sitting there thinking, she's never going to say this, so I'm letting her go first. And I think you can see my face kind of, like, really? When she says New Nightmare.
I know good films.
She's right. She's 100% right. New Nightmare is genius. It is.
Yeah, ironically enough, you mentioned Scream. I actually watched all 4 of the Scream movies.
I love Scream.
I will say this: I think it's not until Scream 4 that I noticed like the major drastic difference. It's like first one, enjoyed it. Second one, okay, the twist ending. That's good. That's really good. It got me invested. Third one, it's like, still a twist ending, but sure, still passable. Then when you get to the fourth one, it's like, okay, yeah, that's right. This is more of a modernized one.
Well, that's the beauty of it. You have to look at Scream in context of what it is. The first one, it was commentary on what horror was at the time, and where it could go. The second one was all about sequels and what happens in sequels.
You got to make them bigger.
Yeah, and all that. The third one was about trilogies and all of that. The fourth one was about reboots. Yeah. That's why it's different. That's why it feels different. That's why it's the exact same story, but with different characters.
And it was done and 10 years later?
It was, something like that. And that's why it's her cousin that, and so I think 4 is underrated because it does get looked at as, they're just, trying to remake the first one. But you got to look at it in the context of what Scream, the series, is, and it always has been commentary on horror. And so Scream 4 came out at a time when it was nothing but reboots everywhere. There was no originality in horror. It was like
2009, which was Friday the 13th.
I think Paranormal Activity was the only, kind of newish, The Conjuring, all that stuff. But everything else coming out was reboot after reboot. It was Rob Zombie's Halloween. It was New Nightmare. It was not New Nightmare, but Nightmare on Elm Street. It was the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was just reboot after reboot.
And there were these harsh, gritty reboots.
Exactly.
They were all trying to be, we're more violent than we were back then. We're not, Freddy's going to be a real life child molester versus a child killer.
Unneeded, unnecessary.
And that's what the commentary was on, I guess. So my theory is now Scream 5 coming out in January could possibly be a commentary on the fact that now the theme in horror movies is resurrecting old films but ignoring the sequels. And just making a sequel based on the first. So is it because Courtney Cox was quoted as saying in an interview that she is back in 5 and she said it is not a sequel, it's its own thing, and it's not as meta, is what she said. So my thought is, are they ignoring part 2 and 3 and 4 and doing like a weird kind of multiverse reboot?
Because that's what we've heard about all of them. We heard before Halloween 2018 came out, it was it's not a reboot.
Yeah, it's not a reboot.
It's not this. Yep. But it turned out to be a sequel. Then we heard the same thing with like Texas Chainsaw. They came out and they just said, yes, it's going to be a sequel to the original.
To the first one.
So they're getting rid of all the other ones. Yep. So it's the theme. That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing now, yeah. And they kind of did that with the Leprechaun reboot too. They picked up after the second one or the first one, and that was it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe what they're going to do because they clearly have an idea, and like Scream only comes around when there's something to say.
When there's commentary to be made on the genre,
which makes a lot of sense. It was one of those things where I don't know if it was 2 or 3 where I see David Arquette in there. It's like, wasn't he supposed to be like dead in the last
3
one?
is a horrible movie. No, like I'll give you I don't like 3 at all.
Yeah, 3 is the worst of the 4 for sure. But he never died. Dewey never died in any of them that I remember.
But the thing about 3 is it's still entertaining. Like,
I'll watch it.
I still love it. Like, I hate it, but I love it because I just love Scream as a whole.
5 is going to be the first one without Wes Craven.
That's where the issue lies.
Because Wes Craven even produced the TV series on MTV, which we
even loved. The new one. Okay, so did you see the Scream TV series?
No, he died by the time part 3
I have not gotten a chance to yet. No.
Okay, so the first 2 seasons, excellent. I love the first 2 seasons.
Great characters.
Great characters. Not so much the main characters, but the side characters are fantastic. Noah and I can't remember her name, but her real name's Bex Taylor.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. Audrey's her character's name. And all the little side characters that are supposed to be meat bags or whatever, but they're fantastic. The idea they had, the way they were able to kind of. Yes, what they did in the movie, but expanded into... It was great. I loved it. Then, instead of giving us... They left it open-ended after season 2. Then they gave us this movie with the same characters still. It was a TV movie. It was the same characters still, and it wound up killing off one of the characters that they left open-ended in the series, who was the bad guy. And then, so you're like, okay, so are we going to follow... Because there's still a mystery to solve, too. and who the original killer was from the series.
Yeah,
and we're
they
thinking,
never
okay, the
resolved
movie's
it.
going to solve this. No, they go off to some island and have a completely different killer with different motives, different everything.
Right. It's almost like it's not even related to the series.
And then the third season comes out, and it's completely different storyline, characters, everything. It's like they just gave up on the storyline. I'm so mad at how they did that series.
Oh, and we watched season 3. Don't get me wrong. We watched it.
It's not good.
But it wasn't good. And like to show that they weren't following the same thing at all was in this first 2 seasons, and I believe in the movie, they had a new mask for Scream. It was completely new.
The Brandon
redesigned.
James mask.
And then in the season 3, it was back to the original Ghostface.
Yeah.
And they just didn't care
Well, like
about...
an updated version of it.
I don't
but it
know.
was just,
It was
I don't even
dumb.
remember, honestly. It was
so
bad.
dumb.
You see how good my memory is for horror and stuff. I don't even remember that.
No.
I just remember thinking I hate this with every minute I was watching it.
I would tell any Scream horror fan to watch the first 2 seasons because even though it doesn't end technically, it is very well done and very entertaining. There's a good mystery there. The movie and beyond that, just forget it.
Yeah, not worth it.
It's just...
So I guess I'll ask this question. With them doing the reboot for Child's Play last year, and now this year they're doing the TV series.
We're excited for the TV series.
Oh, I am too.
I'm
Because the
very
TV
excited.
series has the original creator on board. It's got the voice actor, Brad Dourif,
It's got
on
Jennifer
board.
Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly's on board.
And it's going to continue the story that they had set up in the movies.
Yeah, because it was Curse of Chucky and then Cult of Chucky.
And it's going to follow from there. Which, if you haven't seen those movies, oh my God,
They're
see them. They're
good.
brilliant. They're so
really
beautiful, too. Beautifully shot.
Yeah, and they're made for director home video movies, but they're good. It always proves my theory that just because you don't have the money and you know your video's going to home video doesn't mean you have to not give a shit about it.
No, they're fantastic films.
He did a great job on those movies.
And his daughter, that's the thing, is his daughter plays the character, and they look so much alike in real life that it's like...
yeah, Brad Dourif's daughter,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, so we're excited for the TV series. The new movie can go straight to hell. Like, it did not. That's the problem with it. It did not need to be a Chucky movie
Not at
because
all.
it was nothing about Chucky. It could have been its own killer doll movie.
And I thought this from the minute it was all announced. But turns out I did finally watch it, and I did not give him money. I did not go to the theaters because I just was upset about it that much. But it came to Amazon for free. Fine, I'll watch it. It was not a Chucky movie. There's no reason to call it Child's Play. It was just because they had the rights to the name. He's not Chucky. Mark Hamill, I love Mark Hamill. He can do no wrong. He didn't do bad in this. He's not Chucky, though.
Yeah.
I don't think he was trying to be Chucky.
Yeah,
he was trying to be a robot doll who's killing people.
Yep.
And on that, it succeeded, I guess.
I would have liked that movie more if it wasn't a Chucky movie.
Yeah, call it Killer Doll. Call it... Whatever. But don't call it Child's Play, because that's not what it was.
One of the things I'll never get out of my head is the part where one of the characters' moms is just in the parking lot and she's basically freaking out, and all you just hear is the Mark Hamill line of "Peek-a-boo." That I'll never get out of my head. It's one of those things where it's like it's so meta, it's so freaky, but it works.
Right. There's nothing wrong with Mark Hamill in that role. It's just
Mark Hamill,
and the movie's fine. The movie's not terrible.
I love Aubrey Plaza. She's my spirit animal. I love her.
Although I will say, I think the son is a little too old to be getting a doll.
Yes, that's the other problem. Is no wonder the other kids make fun of him. He's like a 12-year-old carrying around a doll. You know.
I think he might be older than that, but he's ridiculous. He shouldn't. I don't understand that concept.
Right. Andy was so cute in the original.
He was a good actor. That cute Alex something.
Yeah. Which he's back in the timeline, and it's the actor that actually played Andy in the original. So
he killed it in Cult of Chucky.
Oh yeah,
fucking killed it.
I'm excited.
I'm
so excited.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited about the series. If the series turned out was not Brad Dourif, was not the original creator behind it, was not Jennifer Tilly, was not connected in the continuity of the Chucky movies that I approve of, and I approve of Seed of Chucky. Right. But I would be not on board. But I was so on board for this. We are going to do a review, I think, of maybe episode by episode. We're not sure.
It's amazing seeing how far we've come from horror from then to the now, and just seeing so many times where people have said, like, we've screwed up. We've had these movies. We're just going to ignore them.
Right.
We're going to recreate these ones. Why couldn't they have done that for something like Jaws? To where
I don't know.
See, here's the thing. I'm fine with Jaws 2. I'm one of those people that probably will say that Jaws 2 is good. Is it on par with the original? No, it's definitely not.
It's an acceptable.
It is. Then when you get to 3 and the Revenge, it's just like, wow, you've really just
they really don't care anymore.
But if you look at it, that's true of any of the series. I think even Scream, we don't like 3. Right. I think 4 is okay. I think 4 is a good movie. I like 4.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't. No. But if you look at any of the series, around 3 or 4 is when they start going to hell. Like 3 Halloween Season of the Witch is a disaster of a movie. I love that movie. You will never convince me to not love that movie, but it is not a good movie.
No.
And Halloween 4 and 5 are just pure garbage. But again, you're not going to convince me not to love them because I love Halloween.
She has convinced me that 5 is worse than 6.
It is. 5 is the worst one of them all. I hate the Rob Zombie. I, with a fiery passion of a million suns, hate the Rob Zombie Halloween movies because he destroyed what it is. But I think Halloween 5 is a worse movie. Like, his movies, I may hate what they did, but they're still well-made movies. Like, Halloween 5 is a dumpster fire.
It's not even well-produced. It's not well-made.
And that's because they began shooting it almost immediately after they were done with 4, because the studio was immediately like, we want another one. They began shooting without having a full script written. They had no idea what they were doing. And then the clown noises under the cops when they're walking around.
Yeah,
I can't. I just can't.
I don't know what they were thinking.
And then to take our awesome final girl from Halloween 4, Rachel, and kill her in the first 10 minutes of the next movie.
Right.
So that we can follow around who? Tina? Who the fuck is Tina? Like, why do we care about Tina? And she's annoying as hell. Like...
Yeah, and it's really annoying when you find out behind the scenes that these actors, they don't know when they're asked to come back, they're going to get killed right away. It turns out it happened in this movie. It happened on Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Yeah.
They brought the original girl back, didn't tell her that she was going to get killed immediately.
Yeah.
It's just like...
Alice from the original.
Yeah, it's just like... I don't know why it's a thing. Just keep the character going. Gives the audience.
Yeah, why can't she be a badass in 2 movies in a row?
Right. Jamie Lee Curtis did it.
Exactly. Jamie Lee Curtis is a badass.
I don't think it was until this new Halloween 2 that I was just seeing that oh wow, Jamie Lee Curtis, she's got spunk to her. Just seeing her shoot down it's like, yeah, okay, I believe this. I think this is awesome.
I think that they basically took a card from Terminator 2 and decided to apply it to Laurie Strode is what I think.
But with its own, it feels like she's Laurie still.
Earned.
Yeah, this feels like this is the woman that could have grown up from the first 2. Well, I still say they should have involved the second one, and then they could have taken it back in this new one that he was her brother or whatever.
Yeah.
But, because I think it makes more sense to keep 2 for my own reasons. I've got, which I'll probably discuss in Slasher Advocate, I think. I don't even remember what I talked about there. I wrote that script a while ago.
You do.
But like I was saying, every series, once they get to around 3 or 4, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 4th one with Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger is just, it's one of the worst horror movies ever. They
didn't care.
It's I see why their reps, once those 2 got famous, why their reps tried to bury this movie. Like, they did not want it coming out, and that's why it was delayed. First, it was shelved because they realized it was a bad movie, so they never released it or something for a couple years. Mm-hmm. And then she did Jerry Maguire, and he did Dazed and Confused, and they became huge names.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, they're like, oh shit, let's put this movie out. And their reps and their agents and stuff were like, we will murder you if you do this. Like, it was like when, someone becomes famous and they find out they did porn in their past life. Like, they were trying to wipe it off the face of the earth. But it got released, and it's not good.
Which is bullshit. I don't think your past acting gigs and what you do for money should affect anything going forward.
No, absolutely not. And it clearly didn't hurt them. They she got Bridget Jones, and he went on to do Volvo commercials or whatever commercials he was driving around in.
If anything,
Lincoln.
It probably made certain horror fans who only watch horror movies and stuff like them better.
Aware of them.
And maybe, see what else they have to offer and stuff. So there's never anything. I don't think there's anything bad. I don't
know. That movie's bad because, like I said, every time I watch Halloween, I don't skip them. I watch them even though they're bad because I love them. But with Texas Chainsaw, when I watch that series, I do tend to skip forward because I don't like it. He's so uncomfortably gross and creepy and disgusting in that movie that it just makes me feel like I'm being violated while I'm watching it. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't like it.
I'll be honest, I've never sat through the whole movie before, so I'm going to take her word on that.
It's off-putting because I didn't see it till after, obviously, I knew who Matthew McConaughey was. So I think it's another element to it being so off-putting is you're like, ew, why are you doing that, Matthew McConaughey? Don't be gross. Like,
right, you're supposed to be a charming rom-com guy.
Right, not okay.
Go do Magic Mike and everything like
that.
Right,
this is not okay at all.
I will say this. I think that, first of all, your reaction to Halloween 5 was my reaction to Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's just like, you're killing off all the people that we knew from the last one. Now we're feeling, who? Who is this chick?
Exactly.
Where does she come from?
Yeah, I don't know why they do that. I honestly don't understand.
Because they're trying to get the next generation going of new characters and blah, blah, blah.
All
that bullshit.
But if it's the movie that comes out the following year as the last one, as in the case of both these movies are, why? Is it a money issue? Is it because you got to pay them more? I don't understand why you would kill off the fan favorite character in the very next movie.
Right.
Like, I don't understand that.
I'm
not saying I'll never do that in a movie.
But you'll at least have better reasons.
I'll have a better reason.
Yeah.
But I will also say this. Another series of movies that definitely is getting a bit of a resurgence and a reboot is, I don't know if you've heard of the Wrong Turn series.
Oh, I love the Wrong Turn series.
Oh, yeah. So it's just absolutely
No, correction. I love the first Wrong Turn movie. The series, I think, after that quickly goes off the rails.
I haven't seen the reboot yet, but from what I've heard of it, it sounds pretty decent, but it doesn't sound like a Wrong Turn movie. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen I have not seen the reboot.
I will say that I think that's the best way to put that movie is that it definitely does not feel like a Wrong Turn movie.
No.
It definitely feels like a different Wrong Turn kind of feel to it.
Sure.
And to be honest, it's one of those movies that I sat down with Celeste and we watched, and it was kind of one of those things where it was just like, other than a couple of parts, I enjoyed it. It was one of those movies that
The new one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the new one I heard is enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm willing to watch it. I like Wrong Turn.
I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Well, I'll tell you this. There's not a single hillbilly in the new Wrong Turn series.
No.
Prepare to be disappointed.
I won't be disappointed because I know that. And we know that.
I'll say this. I do agree with you to the point of, with Wrong Turn, there comes a point where it's like, it goes off the rails. It's like, as it goes, then the sequel, it's like, okay, Wrong Turn 2, I actually really
that's the one where they're the Henry Rollins is in it or whatever his name is.
Like the game show.
Yeah, that one I do like.
Then when you get to 3, it's like, there you go.
Exactly, and then fourth one is the one where it's his granddaughter or something.
The fourth one is when they decide, well, let's just go back and show you how these people came to be the way they are.
Oh, why? Which one has the one with the girl that she's related to them or something?
Is that the fourth?
No, I might be thinking.
That was.
I don't even know.
Yeah, it was the last one. It was like the 6th one where they had
There's
the hotel.
too many.
I was going to say they made like 6 before they rebooted it.
It was just too many is what it was.
That's the thing that's why for the remake, I looked up the spoilers before I even decided if I was going to watch it or not, because I still haven't watched it, but it's because they went off the rails. I wasn't interested in wasting any more time with this series. So now that I hear it's different and
it's worth a shot.
Better, I'll watch it at some point. But.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about horror movies, FML memories.
It's easy to do.
We're creating FML memories at this point.
Well, yeah, sure. We just created some.
So it's going to be absolutely crazy to see where everything goes from here. It's only going to go uphill since then. You guys are on an absolute tear to just give people entertainment and great content. So definitely keep up the amazing work because you guys do a fantastic job when it comes to that. Whether it's working with Wyatt as the director that's going to always make me do something different in the series. I will say this. The one that I have featuring Kris is probably the most tamed one that I've done since joining on.
Well,
no, I shouldn't say that. Since the first one.
Yeah, the first one was pretty tame.
Yeah, the first one was tamed, and then after that it was just like, put on a diaper, drop your trowel, we're gonna have you shit in the toilet.
Welcome to FML.
Right. Yeah, this one you just had to like cut a tomato and then lay on the couch. Like,
yeah, it's pretty easy in comparison. But I think it's one of the more complex stories we've told with you, though.
Yes,
so
I will agree with that.
There's definitely a twist to this one.
And like we said before, there's 2 other ones that are going to be coming out. One that's going to feature me, Kris, as well as Becky, who I've had on the show in the past. And there's going to be one that's going to feature myself, Kate, Matt Jones, and Aiden.
Yeah, that one will be on the Wrestling Show channel, though.
Yeah,
that one's going to FML, but it does air on the Wrestling channel. And
I'm looking forward to that.
It's coming soon. I just got tied up with other stuff. We shot it a while ago, but it's coming soon.
Yeah, the moment that we're recording this, Wyatt and I have also been busy getting ready for YouTube Mania, which is going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, live, in front of an audience.
At the Harmony Club.
I've told Matt I can do whatever he wants me to do in front of a live audience, but...
Just give you the cue cards.
Yeah, give me the cue cards. No, I'll be good.
And that's why I'm running cameras.
Yeah, I'm running cameras. You won't see her.
I will say this, not to spoil anything, Kris. There will come a point where I'm going to say get a picture of this.
Oh, so, and I will.
She's going to be doing on still photography for this. So if you want her to get a still of something, flag her down.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, we don't want to give away WrestleMania or YouTube Mania, but
the YouTube Mania.
I'm playing a lot bigger part in it than I originally signed up for. But
yes, you are.
But,
hey, that happens a lot of times when actors show up to his sets too, where they're like, I came to be in the background. Well, now you're gonna be the star.
Yeah, it sure does.
Well, just you fancy
absolutely, that's very true. I feel like that happened with Simone's girlfriend last time she came out. I'm like, guess what? She's like, I'll be background. Or, how would you like some lines and a big camera time?
She's like, what?
Yeah. She seems to still be friends with me, so I guess.
She hasn't blocked you on Facebook.
She hasn't blocked me yet, so.
So, with that being said, this is going to be the part of the show where I do the whole cheap plugs. So if you guys have anything, social media-wise, anything like that, by all means, plug away. It's where people can find you, give you requests, ask questions.
You can find us right now. Our newest thing, if you like horror movies and what we've been talking about, go to YouTube and look up Notebook TV 1 is the official link. So it's youtube.com/Notebook TV 1. Or just look up Notebook TV, Horrorland News.
I was about to say, did somebody take Notebook TV?
Apparently.
Those bastards.
So, that's why it's Notebook TV 1. But, and then otherwise, if you want to see our more adultish content, go to avibe.com. Sign up. If you use the code Notebook, you get first 30 days free. It's only $5.99 a month. And you can see Nate on there. You can see Kris on there. You can see my work on there. And then we've got
Notebook Movies
Notebook
channel.
Movies YouTube channel, the biggest, the best, where you can see most all of the FMLs. Can't say all of them anymore, but most all of them on there. You can binge watch them for hours, and that's youtube.com/Notebook Movies.
And then you can follow us on Facebook. We've got the Notebook channel. That's going to tell you everything that's going on at Notebook Entertainment.
Yeah.
We've got the Tales from F My Life channel or page that'll tell you everything.
Yeah, you can find us most under either Notebook Movies or Tales from FML.
Yep. And then we also have a Horrorland news Facebook page as well as a Twitter page. So follow us on Twitter as well. Yeah. Tony Todd follows us on Twitter.
I was about to say.
He sure does.
And then also, I do a lot of writing, for the channel, but I'm a book writer. I've written 4 books. You can find links to all those on any of our pages, probably.
Yeah, or Notebook Publishing on...
Notebook Publishing. They're all available on Amazon, paperback, and also Kindle and Kindle Unlimited.
And their first book is on hardcover on Barnes & Noble, but I think the other's updated yet.
Yep, so it's 2. The one's a fantasy series called Wonderlandian Chronicles, and there's 2 books out in that series. And then the other series is a mystery sci-fi series called the Andy Alcott Mystery Files. And there's 2 books in that one and a 3rd coming out later this year.
Yep. So
I mean, we started off talking about all the crazy stuff that you guys got going on, and we're concluding the same exact way.
we don't have bored moments.
Yeah, we like to be busy.
Notebook Entertainment is absolutely the best. You guys need to be subscribed to their channel. Check out their stuff. It is absolutely amazing. You can always follow me on every single bit of social media at RealFNGame, as well as check me out on every single podcasting format. I mean, everyone at this point. So definitely thank you so much to Wyatt and Kris for taking the time to talk about, everything that's going on, and looking forward to seeing what you guys have planned and what Wyatt's going to have me dressed up next time.
The diaper will make a return.
I'm calling that right now. So thank you guys so much. See ya.